Now open your eyes, not to this world, but to the one you've already claimed within. You are not becoming rich, you are already wealthy. The question is not how you will become a millionaire, but how you will live now that you are. When you walk, walk with the posture of wealth. When you speak, speak with the ease of someone whose bank account reflects their inner richness. When you look in the mirror, see the version of you who already has it all. Don't wait for the outer world to confirm it. It never will until your inner world does first. Your senses are only reporters. They reflect, they do not lead. You lead. You decide. You imagine. Every great transformation begins in silence, in solitude, in imagination. The moment you assume it and feel it to be true, the wheels begin turning invisibly. From that moment, life rearranges itself, not through effort, but through natural bridges, unexpected encounters, ideas and events that bring your assumed reality into view. To act as if is not pretending. It is not playing a character. It is claiming your truth, stepping into the vibration of already being. There is no striving in it, no desperation, no hunger. A millionaire does not beg to become one. They simply are. So today, become silent and sure. See yourself waking up in your dream home. Smell the scent of luxury sheets. Hear the quiet confidence of your own voice. Feel the ease with which you move through your day, unbothered, secure, abundant. The world cannot help but reflect what you assume, but you must remain loyal to the state of being. When doubts come, and they will, return to your inner world, reaffirm the feeling, re-enter the life that is already yours. This isn't just a technique, it's a transformation. You are not hoping for wealth, you are not chasing it, you are embodying it. Don't ask for permission from reality. Don't wait for a sign. Become the sign. Become the proof. Become the living evidence that thought, emotion, and assumption create worlds. And when you do, when you faithfully dwell in the feeling of wealth, you will look back in awe, not because the world changed, but because you changed and the world followed. So go now, not to make it happen, but to live as if it already has, because it has. I think imagination is the beginning of all creation. Everything you see around you, every structure, every invention, every work of art, every great fortune was first born in the unseen realm of imagination. It is not a mere daydream or idle fancy. It is the workshop of reality. In imagination, you shape and mold the unseen substance of thought and feeling into form. What you consistently entertain within your imagination becomes the pattern your life follows, like a mold poured with molten gold. It does not matter what your present circumstances may look like. If you will persist in imagining the life you desire with vividness and emotion, the outer world must yield to it. Imagination is the divine creative faculty within you. It does not wait for logic or permission. It sees beyond facts and circumstances. It transcends the limitations of the senses and claims a reality not yet seen. When you live from your imagination rather than your memory, you release yourself from the chains of what has been, and you begin to dwell in what can be, as if it already is. Everything begins within. If you want to change your finances, your relationships, your health, your destiny, you begin by changing the image you hold inside. That image must be lived, felt, believed in fully. Imagination has to become more real to you than what your senses report, because what the senses show you is only the echo of a previous state, a former belief. But what you imagine now, boldly, consistently, with feeling, plants the seeds of future experience. You do not need to beg life to change. You simply need to imagine it differently. You must feel the new version of reality so deeply that it eclipses the old one. And the moment you do that, you begin to activate unseen forces, draw in new opportunities, shift your perception, and open doors that were previously invisible. You begin to live in a new mental environment, and that inner world eventually compels the outer world to match it. Imagination is not limited by time or space. It can carry you instantly to where you want to be. It allows you to taste the success, feel the freedom, hear the applause, smell the victory, and as you dwell in that state, fully immersed in it, you become aligned with it. Life cannot help but mirror it back to you. To feel the reality before it appears is to step into the unseen with complete trust and inner conviction. It means aligning your emotional state with the outcome you desire, even when all physical evidence suggests otherwise. The feeling is the secret, the bridge between the invisible and the visible. When you generate the emotion of already having what you want, you collapse the gap between the present and the future. You begin to vibrate in harmony with the life you are calling in, and in doing so, you become a magnet to it. The outer world is slow to move. It lags behind your inner world. If you wait for conditions to change before you feel wealthy, loved, or successful, you delay your own transformation. The creative act begins the moment you claim the feeling now. Feelings are not just responses to what is. They are the creators of what will be. When you feel rich while still surrounded by lack, you are planting the seeds of wealth. When you feel loved, even when alone, you are inviting deep and fulfilling connection. When you feel healed before the symptoms vanish, you are instructing the body to follow the command of your inner state. Most live reactively. They feel according to what is. But to live consciously is to reverse that process. You must feel ahead of the evidence, trust ahead of the proof. This is not about pretending or denying reality. It's about choosing to dwell emotionally in the reality you prefer, knowing that the outer must reflect the inner eventually. Emotion is the language of creation. The stronger the feeling, the more powerfully it imprints upon your subconscious. Repetition deepens it. The more often you return to the feeling, the more real it becomes, until one day you are no longer hoping. It feels natural, normal, expected. At that point, your world has no choice but to align, because the frequency you radiate sets the tone for what comes to you. When you imagine the life you desire, let it be more than a picture. Let it become a mood. Let it rise up within your body like a wave of certainty. Let it fill you, shift you, stir you. Walk in that feeling. Speak from that feeling. Think from that feeling, because in the unseen it already exists. The moment you feel it deeply, genuinely, and repeatedly, you move toward it, and it moves toward you. You are the operant power, the source from which all change begins. Nothing and no one outside of you holds dominion over your life experience unless you give them that authority. The world is not acting upon you. You are acting upon it through your assumptions, your beliefs, your thoughts, and most of all, your feelings. To understand this is to step out of victimhood and into creative responsibility. You are not a passive receiver of life's conditions. You are the one who shapes them moment by moment, whether consciously or unconsciously. Circumstances do not create your inner state. Your inner state creates your circumstances. The law responds to your inner world without question, without judgment, without pause. It mirrors back to you precisely what you have accepted as true. The power is not in the situation, not in luck, not in timing, but in your awareness of being. When you say, I am, and follow it with conviction, you set the direction of your life. I am successful. I am abundant. I am chosen. These are not affirmations. They are declarations of your creative authority. You do not need permission to imagine a greater life. You do not need evidence to claim it. The only requirement is your willingness to believe that you are the cause, not the effect. This does not mean controlling the world through force or effort. It means governing your inner realm with intention. When you take responsibility for your state of consciousness, you begin to influence everything that unfolds before you. Your relationships shift, opportunities appear, patterns dissolve, not because something outside changed first, but because you did. The world reflects your dominant state, not your occasional thoughts, but your persistent assumptions. You must become aware of what you consistently accept as true about yourself and your life. If you see yourself as powerless, the world confirms it. But the moment you awaken to your power and decide to assume something greater, life reshapes itself around your new identity. You are the potter, not the clay, the mold, not the cast, the projector, not the screen. No condition is too fixed, no history too strong, no mistake too permanent to be rewritten by the one who knows they are the operant power. What you accept within must show itself without. Life has no choice but to obey the instructions of your inner conviction. The question is never whether you are powerful. The question is whether you are using that power consciously. To live from the end is to occupy the state of the wish fulfilled, to dwell in the feeling of already having what you desire, and to let that internal reality guide every thought, action, and response. It is not about hoping that something might happen one day. It is the conscious decision to act, feel, and think from the certainty that it already has. This is the essence of true creation, not waiting for the outer world to change, but changing the self within and allowing the outer to follow. When you live from the end, you are not looking toward your goal as something separate, something distant, something yet to be achieved. You are identifying with it now. You become one with it. You move through the world not as someone seeking, but as someone who has already received. This shift changes everything. Your energy, your behavior, your assumptions, all begin to mirror that fulfilled state. The world cannot resist this alignment. It must conform. This state is not dependent on appearances. Even if everything around you seems to contradict your inner vision, you remain loyal to the unseen. You remain faithful to the reality within. Living from the end is not about ignoring the current circumstances. It is about seeing through them, knowing they are temporary and mutable. They are not final. They are echoes of former states. What you hold now in consciousness becomes what you hold in your hand. It means asking yourself daily, how would I feel if this were already true? How would I carry myself? What would I say? How would I move? And then embodying those answers with certainty. It means eliminating the gap between here and there by mentally dwelling in the result. You don't try to become, you are. You don't wait, you claim. The moment you stop chasing and start embodying, the need to strive falls away and manifestation becomes inevitable. The world responds not to what you want, but to what you are. Living from the end creates a shift in your identity. You are no longer the person who desires. You are the person who has. You speak differently. You make different decisions. You surround yourself with different energy. You become the version of yourself who matches the reality you have imagined. And as you persist in this identity, the outer world has no choice but to adjust to your inner transformation. Living from the end is the purest form of faith. It is the knowing that what you have assumed within must take shape without. It is the deep inner stillness that says, it is done, and lives accordingly, regardless of what the senses say. Persistent inner conviction is the silent force that bends reality to your will. It is not loud, it is not forceful, it is steady, unwavering, and absolute. The outer world is not shaped by fleeting desires or casual thoughts. It responds to what is deeply accepted, emotionally charged, and repeatedly affirmed within. When you hold an idea with consistent belief, regardless of what your senses report, it must externalize itself in your life. Conviction is not wishful thinking. It is not hoping. It is the knowing that what you have assumed is already true in the unseen and will inevitably become visible. This inner assurance becomes your dominant vibration, the frequency you emit to the world. And the world, being reflective, organizes itself to mirror that inner state back to you. Even when nothing seems to be changing, even when delays or doubts appear, that persistent conviction remains untouched, drawing in the exact conditions that match it. It is through repetition and emotional engagement that this conviction takes root. The more often you return to the same assumption, the deeper it impresses itself on your subconscious. You begin to respond to life not from habit, not from fear, but from your inner knowing. And that knowing projects itself onto the screen of space as new people, events, ideas, and opportunities, all aligned with your inner state. You begin to see how powerful you truly are, not because you force things to happen, but because you remain faithful to your chosen reality. With this inner stance becomes your foundation. It gives you stability regardless of what's happening around you, because you are no longer reacting to appearances, you are creating them. You are no longer swayed by the noise of the world. You are moved only by the truth you have accepted as real. Others may call it delusion, but you know it as creation. You persist in the assumption until it becomes so natural, so self-evident within you that the outer world has no option but to catch up. Nothing can remain unchanged when met with persistent inner conviction. No condition is too fixed, no circumstance too permanent, no delay too long. Everything begins to shift the moment you stop looking to the outer for proof and start living from the unshakable knowing within. And as you persist, reality molds itself around your inner declaration, not because the world has power over you, but because you have realized the power within you. Detaching from the how is one of the greatest demonstrations of trust in your creative power. It means releasing the need to control every detail, every path, every connection that might lead to your desire. It is surrendering the urge to figure it all out and instead placing your full confidence in the unseen intelligence that responds to your inner state. When you truly live in the end, when you have fully assumed the feeling of the wish fulfilled, the method of manifestation becomes irrelevant. You no longer need to ask when, how, or through whom, because you already know it is done within, and that inner movement is enough. The mind loves to analyze, to plan, to predict, but creation does not require mental effort, it requires faith. The moment you imagine and feel your desire as real, the seed is planted. Trying to force the outcome or micromanage the process only signals that you doubt the power of your imagination. You are not the orchestrator of circumstances. You are the initiator of states. And once the state is claimed and sustained, the world rearranges itself to fulfill it, often in ways you could never have predicted or designed. The how belongs to the intelligence of life itself, to the unseen currents that guide people, events, and resources into place. Your job is not to chase or push or manipulate. Your role is to stay loyal to the end you've claimed, to trust that the bridge of incidents will unfold at the perfect time in the perfect way, even if it looks chaotic or uncertain at first. What seems random is often the very thing leading you closer to what you've imagined. When you trust the inner movement, those subtle nudges, those inspired ideas, those feelings of peace, you are allowing life to work through you. You become more receptive, more open, more aligned. The resistance dissolves because you are no longer fighting with the world. You are cooperating with the unseen, knowing that the same force that gave you the desire is already fulfilling it through you. Let go of the pressure to make it happen. Let go of needing to know every step. Walk in the inner certainty that it's already yours, and act only when moved from within. There is nothing passive about this trust. It is the most powerful stance you can take, because it is born from the awareness that the inner reality is the only true cause, and once that is secure, all else must follow. So now you know you are not at the mercy of the world. You are the cause, not the effect. You are the one who imagines, the one who assumes, the one who creates. Everything you've ever desired already exists in the unseen, waiting only for your alignment with it. when you live as if it's already done, when you feel the reality before it appears, when you persist with unwavering conviction, the world cannot help but obey. You are the operant power. You are the spark of creation, and all things are drawn to you not because you chase them, but because you embody them. So live from the end. Feel it now. Detach from the how. Trust the inner movement. Walk as the version of you who already has it all. Thank you for allowing these words to enter your awareness. Thank you for choosing to rise above circumstance and step into your true power. Thank you for remembering who you are. The world is ready to mirror your transformation because you already are what you seek.